Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'd like to call the August meeting of the Edgecombe County Commissioners to order. Ms. Harris, would you please give the invocation?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day of life, health, and strength. Lord, we thank you for those who are gathered, those who may be listening. Lord, we ask that you put in each of our hearts that we work together to do what is best for all the citizens of Edgecombe County. This we ask in your son's name. Amen. Amen.
One other thing before we continue the meeting, if there's those of you who have signed up, if there's anybody here that has not signed up to do our public hearings or our public petitions, I give you an opportunity to sign up now. After we start the meeting from this point on, we will not hear from you. And we will be holding you to your 3 minutes. Is there anybody that's not signed? Moving on. Safety instructions, Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call Ms. Natalie Bestford to give us all our safety instructions for tonight.
Good evening. To provide for the safety of those attending this meeting, please listen to the following instructions in case of an emergency. First, please take a moment to note where your exits are. If an emergency arises that prompts us to evacuate, including a fire alarm, please exit this room in a quick and orderly manner through one of the 2 doors to your right, and then proceed to the nearest stairwell, directions to which are indicated by the exit signs. Once you exit the building, we ask that you safely cross Granville Street to our parking lot to be safely away from the building. Our staff will provide additional directions and assistance as needed. In the case of a tornado warning, please exit this room into the hallway where we will all remain until it is safe to exit. And in the event of an active shooter in the building, if there is an accessible escape path, please run and try to evacuate the premises. If you can't evacuate, find a place to hide where you are less likely to be found and lock any doors that you can. And as a last resort, and only if your life is in imminent danger, please fight. Our staff will provide additional direction and assistance on what to do. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Mr. Evans, in addition to deletion to the agenda.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We'd like to ask if you would consider adding 2 items. Number 1 is calling for a public hearing for your next month's meeting on a conditional rezoning, and we'll give you the details of that. And number 2, to take consideration of offers to purchase that we recently received on 2 pieces of property the county owns in Deer Run.
What from the board? Any objections? Any objections? Hearing none, they are added.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We have scheduled appointments, none.
Minutes.
Minutes of the meeting. Okay, you've got your minutes in the agenda. In additions or corrections?
Motion to approve.
Second? Questions? All in favor, that be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Public hearing to consider approving the execution and delivery of the amendment to contract and deed of trust permitting the county to finance proposed capital projects and refinance and others. The public hearing is called to order. Mr. Evans, would you please take charge?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. First, I'll ask Mr. Peters to read the notice of the public hearing.
Yes, right.
Yes, sir. The County of Edgecombe, North Carolina, the county previously entered into an installment financing contract dated as September 1st, 2025, the 2025 contract with the Edgecombe County Public Facilities Corporation to finance A, improvements, including but not limited to HVAC improvements, electrical improvements, and roof replacements to various county buildings and facilities, including but not limited to the county's Human Services Building and the 1912 building. B, the acquisition of rolling stock, and C, the acquisition of solid waste disposal equipment. The county is considering entering into an amendment to the 2025 contract, the amendment, in a principal amount currently expected not to exceed $2,200,000 to 1, finance A, renovations and improvements to multiple county facilities, including but not limited to HVAC improvements, courthouse renovations and equipment, and B, the acquisition of rolling stock, and 2, pay certain costs incurred in connection with entering into the amendment. To secure its obligations under the 2025 contract, the county granted a security interest on the sites of the Human Services Building and the 1912 building and the improvements thereon, the mortgage property, pursuant to a deed of trust, security agreement, and fixture filing dated September 1st, 2025, the deed of trust. The county's obligations under the 2025 contract and the amendment will be secured by the mortgage property under the deed of trust. The contract and the deed of trust permit the county to enter into amendments to finance additional projects and refinance projects using the mortgage property as collateral, and the county may or may not grant additional collateral in connection with such amendments. On the county's payment of all installment payments due under the 2025 contract and the amendment, including any future amendments to finance additional projects or refinance projects, the lien created in the mortgage property will terminate and any security interest granted under the deed of trust will be released. Notice is hereby given pursuant to sections 160A-20 of the General Statutes of North Carolina that on August 3rd, 2026 at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as practicable in the Jonathan Felton Commissioner's Room, second floor, Administrative Building, Tarboro, North Carolina, the board will conduct a public hearing concerning the approval of the extension and delivery of the amendment as described above. All interested parties are invited to present comments at the public hearing on the amendment. Signed, Tammy Faison, Clerk to the Board of Commissioners, County of Edgecombe, North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Now you, Mr.
All right,
Evans.
Mr. Chairman. As you know, we started this conversation back during our budget process, contemplating the possibility of financing some capital projects in this now new fiscal year. We've continued that due diligence for your consideration of the financing of those projects. We've received quotes and bids on most of the projects and purchases on the list that you've seen before. You'll see it again tonight. We've also received proposals on rates and terms for financing. Included in your packet is a summary of those proposals. The team at Davenport and Company, they have got an updated lock-in rate this morning, in fact, and they will present that tonight. Mr. Ted Cole is here. Prior to the public hearing, we'll review those proposals. Once we hear from the public, we will then make a recommendation on a lending institution. The recommended action will be to approve the attached resolution to authorize installment financing, which will be contingent upon LGC approval. We have just submitted our application to go before the Local Government Commission. As you know, they have to approve all financing over a certain amount, certain term. We plan to go before the Local Government Commission at their meeting in September. We have with us tonight Mr. Ted Cole with Davenport and Company, and he's going to come and give an overview of the proposals that we've received. You have a copy in your agenda packet that he will review. He will note some updated terms that we've received just as of this morning.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for that intro, Eric. The one on the screen is the one from
It's
today.
updated.
Yes, perfect. Okay. Am I moving the slides? Appreciate the opportunity to be here and would be happy to answer questions as we go through this presentation. I think the order would be hear this, hold the public hearing, and then you all can consider if you want to take action. There is a resolution for your consideration. All right, little bit of repeat on what was discussed, but we did do a borrowing in 2025 for a host of projects, and we secured that with the Human Services Building, the 1912 building. It's just for a refresher, we closed that loan with one of the banks, JP Morgan. The rate at that time that's still in place was a rate of 360, and it was a 15-year term that was non-callable, or it couldn't be prepaid. That's all done, not looking to change any of that. The most current request for funding, as Eric said earlier, $2.2 million. We did an RFP. We sent that out to a number of banks. We've interacted with the banks. What we asked for was two funding components that added up to the $2.2 million. One was a 4-year term for vehicles. One was a 15-year term for other county projects, or we asked them to give us a combined proposal for the 4 and 15. We received 4 proposals: First National Bank, JP Morgan, PNC, and Webster. All of those banks do regularly bid on these sorts of RFPs. We've closed loans with all of those banks. This chart, which is on page 3, the bank is listed on the left. The rate lock language is there under column B, what we call provisions under column C, and that is, do you have the ability to prepay or refinance this debt in the future? And then we filled in what rates each of those banks provided. So when you look at JP Morgan, when they first submitted their proposal, their rate was an indicative rate. They're only able to give us a rate and hold it for 24 hours. That's why we got a rate this morning from them, so we could present it this evening. It's a real rate, and if you were to decide to go forward with JP Morgan, we'd be able to lock that rate tomorrow morning if that's the board's decision. And that rate would be then held firm until our closing. And they gave two options. One is non-callable, meaning when we close the loan, we don't have the ability to prepay it in the future. And that was very similar to the option that was selected last year. And you're going to see it's the lower rate because they don't have any risk that we might prepay it or refinance it. And then they also gave an option too, where you do have some ability to refinance it in the future. They gave us only the rate under column G, which was the 15-year combined. So we're proposing to do a single loan. Part of it is for vehicles paid back over the first 4 years, and then the remaining term are those county projects. But it's going to be a single loan we can allocate between the vehicles and the county projects with county staff. You're going to see that for option one, non-callable, I'd suggest you focus on the rates that have BQ next to them. That stands for bank qualified. Our expectation is that we will be eligible for bank qualified borrowing this calendar year 26, because we're not expecting to borrow more than $10 million in the calendar year. So I think when we get to the recommendation, the BQ would be the recommended rate. And you'll see the non-callable is a 409. That would be fixed for the entire 15-year term. The callable option is a 432. Again, if we chose that and we locked it in tomorrow morning, it would be fixed for the entire term of the loan. The next best was from Webster Bank. Their rate is already fixed. If we choose to move forward with it, it would be fixed through closing. You'll see that you have some ability to prepay it in the future. Depends, there's a couple of years where you won't have the ability to prepay it, and then you have the ability to prepay it with some penalties and eventually without any penalty after 2029. So there is a little more optionality, I guess I would call it, for the future to refinance the debt if you were to go forward with Webster Bank. You'll see they gave a 4-year rate of a 418, a 15-year rate of a 461, and then a blended rate of a 445. We ran the math between those, and the blended rate is better. It results in a lower annual debt service for Webster Bank. And those two are really, I think, the two to focus on. PNC offered a 10-year rate, which really wasn't one that we asked for, but they typically are limited to 10 years. So this presentation is going to focus on a comparison between JP Morgan and Webster Bank. So that takes us to page 4. There's a lot of info on here, but I'll sort of start at the top. Much of this we've covered. You're going to see the rates. And again, for JP Morgan, I think you want to look at the bank qualified rates, the 408 and the 431. As you go a little bit lower down the columns, you'll see the prepayment language. Again, we've covered that on the prior slide. The acceptance and the rate expiration, we've covered that. If we decide to move forward this evening, whether it's with JP Morgan or Webster Bank, the rates would be locked in for a closing that has to occur by September 25th, which should be doable based on our schedule. And those rates would be fixed for the entire term of the financing. Both of these banks will have attorneys that represent them. That's pretty standard, and oftentimes they pass that cost on to the borrower. JP Morgan has a not to exceed counsel fee of $8,500, Webster $5,000. Webster also has a few more requirements they will have on the real estate collateral. namely title insurance that they typically require. So we've got a placeholder for some additional costs associated with the title insurance. JP Morgan does not require title insurance. Both of these will let you all, when you close the loan, take the funds and put it in whatever investment mechanism you would like, whether that's capital management trust or the local bank or what have you. So you'll have complete flexibility when we close to put those funds wherever you should choose, and they will earn, those monies will earn interest while you're spending those borrowed funds. Credit approval, not concerned there. They do obviously need to see the documents and they want to make sure we have LGC approval, but neither of these banks submit term sheets if they have any serious credit concerns. So I think we're in good shape as it relates to credit approval. We talked about lenders counsel, what we're just listing here, what firms would represent them. We know those firms, they are good to work with, and I think they'll generally help move this process along if we decide to move forward. And then we've got some other considerations, none of which are really problematic in any way. Just every bank has a few little things that they add on about payment dates and when the first payment needs to occur. Again, whether there are any real estate related items that they would require. But by and large, either bank that we would move forward with, the rest of this process would look very similar between either bank. So the financial comparisons on the next slide, and we've got two columns showing JP Morgan, the non-callable under column B as in boy, and the option where you do have the ability to call it or refinance it in the future under column C. Webster is under column D. You can see the rates. The project fund on line 8 is the money that the county would net at closing, approximately $1,941,000. We've got a placeholder here for cost of issuance. We'll be able to fine tune that, maybe fine tune it a little bit lower as we go forward. And if there are any bank fees or real estate costs, we've included those on line 10. So what we're talking about here is borrowing, including the cost to issue the debt plus the money you need for projects, about a little over $2.1 million. We've assumed the closing would occur on or about September 18th. You can see the payment dates. That's consistent with all the planning work we've done working with staff. And then you go down and you can see annual payments. No payments in FY27. That's the year we're in. Payments start in fiscal 28. And you can see they start at a higher level and then they decline as time goes forward. And at the very bottom, you can see on line 34, the total principal and interest that would be paid over the life of the loan. So the lowest payback over the life of the loan is JP Morgan, the non-callable under column B, $2,570,000. That's principal plus interest. The JP Morgan column C, where you do have the ability to prepay after 2031. Total payments are about an extra or on top of the non-callable, about $26,000. And Webster would be over and above JP Morgan by about $47,000. Again, higher rate, but you would have the ability to refinance the debt in the future were there to be an opportunity. Any questions on that comparison? Okay. We updated this today and sent it over to staff, so we didn't have a chance to talk through a specific recommendation, but I think you've got three very good options. The lowest annual payments, the lowest payback over the life of the loan would be that JP Morgan non-callable. But if you wanted some optionality to prepay or refinance the debt in the future, one of the other two options would give you that. Certainly no guarantee that there'll be an opportunity to refinance it in the future for savings. It's a relatively small loan, and every year that you amortize or make payments, it gets harder and harder to refinance debt for savings in the future. And again, last year we had a very similar conversation. The selection ended up being the non-callable option in 2025. And again, that may well be where you land today. big picture on schedule this evening, you're holding a public hearing, you're listening to this presentation, and then there is a resolution for you all to consider. That would be the first of two actions by this board. The second action would come at your September 8th meeting. That would be the final approval. Between now and then, we would work with the LGC to secure approval on September 1st. We would get the documents completed and basically have everybody signing off. So when we came into that September 8th meeting for y'all's final action, this would be pretty well buttoned up and we would be on track to be able to close by the deadline on or about September 18th. And when we close, that's when the monies will be available, able to be invested and spent as needed. Any questions?
Any questions? Ms. Evans, you got any additional comments?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, you'll see in a couple of slides after this, just a reminder of the projects, and except for a few tweaks here, there's essentially the same list of projects that you've seen from our earlier recommendation on things to be done.
That top section through line 16 is the longer term component of the borrowing, the part that goes out 15 years, various county improvements. And then the bottom section, a little over 900,000, is the vehicle and equipment, and that is the 4-year term. We obviously didn't want to be paying back the vehicles over a 15-year term. So that's how we got to the grand total at closing for the county would be that $1,941,000.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. At this time, I call for public comments. Is there anybody here to speak? Please come forward and state your name and address for the public record. Is there anybody to speak?
Tell them what's concerning. Concerning this issue.
You want to speak? Go ahead.
I'm talking about, make sure they know it's about this only.
Right, okay. This, at this time, we'll adjourn, and what we need to make is a decision on the bank and the rate.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So the recommendation would be the JP Morgan Chase, the non-callable at the 4.09%, as you saw in the presentation. You have a resolution before you. Recommend that to be approved to include for JP Morgan at those terms.
For JP Morgan,
Yes, sir.
that's your recommendation?
Yes, sir.
Any difference from the, go
I'd like to
ahead.
make I'd like to go with callable for a little bit higher rate. It's $26,000 difference, allows us to pay it off. If we look at our debt schedule, most of our debt is paid out. I mean, we have a large push coming out in 2033. We just did a non-callable for about the same amount, so it kind of balances out a blended rate of about 4%. If you think about it that way.
Yeah.
Which
Your
is a
motion
fair-
is-
a fair
your-
rate. I would accept JP Morgan, the callable option would be my motion.
Second on that?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. That's the decision of the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cole.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Did we approve? Well, the motion included resolution.
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we have public petitions,
Public hearing
Hearing
number
number
2,
two.
Mr. Chairman.
public hearing number 2. Okay, public hearing to consider approving proposed moratorium on acceptance, processing, or approval of development, application and development permits for data centers and related uses within Edgecombe County zoning jurisdiction. The public hearing is called to order. Mr. Peter, would you please read the public notice?
Yes, sir. Public notice is hereby given per North Carolina General Statute 160D-107 that a public hearing will be held by Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners on Monday, August 3rd, 2026, at 6 p.m. in the Jonathan Felton Commissioners Room located on the second floor of the County Administration Building at 201 St. Andrew Street, Tarboro, North Carolina 27886, for the purpose of receiving citizen comments on a proposed 24-month moratorium on the acceptance, processing, and approval of development applications and development permits for data centers and related uses within Edgecombe County's zoning jurisdiction. All interested residents and citizens are invited to attend and make their views known. Those who wish to speak during the public hearing must sign in before the public hearing is called to order. You may also submit comments via email to publiccomments@edgecombco.com or by mail to Tammy Faison, Clerk to the Board, P.O. Box 10, Tarboro, North Carolina 27886. All written comments received by 5 o'clock PM on July 31st will be read at the meeting. The meeting will also be live streamed on the county's YouTube channel at https://youtube.com/@Edgecombe County NC/streams.
Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As the board knows, a public hearing is scheduled tonight regarding a proposed 24-month moratorium on the acceptance, processing, and approval of development applications and permits for data centers and related uses within the county's zoning jurisdiction. North Carolina law authorizes temporary moratoria on development approvals, but requires that the duration be reasonable and no longer than necessary to address the conditions supporting the moratorium. As the board considers this matter, I recommend that you first carefully consider the comments and information presented at the public hearing before making a final decision. Clearly identify regulatory concerns that warrant additional study and explain why alternatives to a moratorium would not adequately, address them. Select a duration that is directly tied to the work the county expects to complete. The longer the period selected, the more important it is to justify why the work cannot reasonably be completed sooner, and allow the moratorium to end earlier if necessary. Review and ordinance amendments are completed before the stated expiration date. Staff will present a more detailed implementation timeline consistent with the schedule included in the ordinance at your September meeting.
Okay. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call for public comments. And when you come forward, please place your name and address for the public record. Madam Clerk, would you please call us the first person?
Yes, sir. Owen Ellis.
Everybody will be held to 3 minutes. The clerk will notify you when your minutes are.
Hey guys, Owen Ellis, 313 Deerwall Road, out in the county. So I've just written it down so I would keep on my track of thought. I just wanted to address to you guys really quick, public comment about the moratorium. I said, good evening, commissioners. First, I want to thank each of you for taking the time to listen to the concerns of your constituents throughout this process. So thank you for that. I know we've been meeting now for about a year discussing this. So I also want to recognize the many citizens in our community who came together, volunteered countless hours, and worked respectfully to protect the place we call home. With the withdrawal of the proposed data center, the one that was just withdrawn, we are grateful that our county's water resources, rural character, and quality of life have been preserved. While this is certainly a victory, we recognize that it is only one chapter. For that reason, I want to express my strong support for the proposed 24-month moratorium. This pause will give our county the time and thoughtful evaluation for future proposals, strengthen protections where needed, and ensure that any decisions reflect the values and long-term interests of the people of Edgecombe County, this land that we love and call home. I hope this experience serves as a stark reminder that local government is at its best when it listens to and represents the voices of its citizens. We appreciate your willingness to hear us, and we will continue to stay engaged, informed, vigilant, and respectful as we work together to preserve the county that we love. Tonight, I do leave here optimistic. I know that whatever challenges may come in the future, whatever comes down the pipe, the people of Edgecombe County will continue to stand together, make their voices heard, and help shape the kind of community that we want to leave for future generations. I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Madam Clerk?
Katie Zimmerman.
Hello, good evening.
Okay.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I'm Katie Zimmerman. I work as your Pamlico Tar River Keeper for the local water quality nonprofit Sound Rivers, dedicated to protecting and advocating for our rivers and the communities that depend on them. I'm here today in support of the 24-month moratorium on data center development. This vote, again, is not against economic development, but for thoughtful planning. Data centers are a rapidly evolving industry with significant demands on our resources. Across North Carolina, state leaders are actively considering legislation and regulatory changes to better address these impacts and ensure that communities have the information and protections they need before projects can move forward. Allowing time for those conversations to conclude will help ensure that Edgecombe County is making decisions under a stronger and more complete regulatory framework, not one that is still being written. A temporary moratorium also gives local governments the opportunity to evaluate whether their own development ordinances adequately reflect the community's priorities. Counties deserve the time to understand the long-term implications of these facilities and to adopt standards that protect public resources, infrastructure, and quality of life before any future proposals can be considered. This is especially important given the uncertainty surrounding recent changes to North Carolina's downzoning laws. As legislators continue working to address unintended consequences of that bill, a pause provides time for local governments to regain the flexibility they need to update zoning and development ordinances without risking legal uncertainty. Local elected officials know their communities best and should retain the authority to establish development standards that reflect local values and local needs. For Sound Rivers, water is at the center of this conversation. Water is essential to our communities and our rivers. Decisions today will shape how these shared resources are managed for decades to come. Taking 24 months to gather information, monitor changes in state policy, engage the public, and strengthen local protections is a responsible and measured approach. I urge you to also support the 24-month moratorium. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
James Wren.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is James Wren, 704 NC 97 East in Leggett. I'm the Democratic Precinct Chair in Leggett, also past president of U Local 150 at the Cummins Rocky Mountain Engine Plant, Phoenix Historical Society, and also Edgecombe Neighbors for Data Center Accountability. And I come before you to echo the two previous speakers to say we really appreciate the response of this board to what people have been bringing forth to citizens of this county. Clearly, the number one recommendation of the advisory group that I was a part of was to ban data centers in Edgecombe County. But we want to support this 24-month moratorium as the wise thing to do at this time, to give time to address this uncertain future of data centers and how it impacts this county. I want to address the fact that there were some comments made at last month's meeting. Is it to say the effort around opposing data centers from a small group of people in this county? That's further from the truth. That's further from the truth. We have town councils in Canita, Princeville, Pine Tops, Leggett, Whitakers have all passed resolutions against data centers, especially hyperscale data centers. We had petitions been submitted. We've had the voters in District 6 on March 3rd voted for David Batts by over 2-1 margin on a no data center platform. That sends a message. So this is more than just a small group of people. This is across the board: Republican, Democrat, independent, white, black, and we want to appreciate the fact that this 24-month moratorium proposal reflects the board listening to the people, and want to you to continue to listen to the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Melanie Bradley.
Good evening. I'm Melanie Goff Bradley, and I'm at 875 Powell Road. It's the Rocky Mountain area of West Edgecombe. I wrote a letter to my commissioner asking for a ban, which the public advocated for, instead of a moratorium. But I understand that's called downzoning, and it is an untenable position for the county. So I'm here to withdraw that letter and to support the 2-year moratorium, and ask you to please commit to use the time to study and prepare for a future proposal so that we can have in place the kind of safeguards, regulations, taxes, and health and environmental protections that our residents need. Fortunately, you do not have to start from scratch. I want to point you to 3 solid resources in addition to Sound Rivers and ENDCA that you've heard from tonight. First, a Tarboro family has grandchildren living in West Virginia. The state saw early construction of crypto mining data centers. When Bitcoin was introduced in 2009, you can see 12 to 15 years of continuous operation and the destructive results. You can also see Loudoun County, Virginia, and several areas of Ohio with hyperscale data centers, but you have personal contact in John Hennett's family living in West Virginia. Second, the state of New York has enacted a 1-year moratorium statewide, during which time they will be following the same process there to try to figure out zoning and regulations. Their results will be available to you before our 2 years are up, but I'm not suggesting that we just adopt what they decide. We're very different, but facts is facts. What they find on the ground in New York will be facts on the ground in North Carolina. Their hard work can be of use. And finally, none other than Erin Brockovich of the PG&E Groundwater Contamination and Cancer Cluster lawsuit has made data centers the focus of her current public advocacy campaign. She is researching all current and proposed AI sites, and her findings are sure to be helpful to you as you look into what other people have found. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. I ask you to commit to doing this time of the moratorium to prepare our county for the possible future using this aspect of AI and data centers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clark Joyner.
My name is Clark Joyner, and I live at 1864 Antioch Road, Kingsburg area, where the data center was proposed to go. And I'd like to thank all of you for taking time to listen to us tonight. It was only a few months back that we learned about the proposal for data centers. And at that time, we didn't know very much. I didn't know very much. But I think in the past few months, after trying to do as much research as I could on them, and I hope that all of you have done enough research that you know a lot more also at this time. But there seems to be definite problems with water. There's definite problems with electricity. There's definite noise problems. I saw a lady one night on the news being interviewed. She was over a mile from a data center with turbines, which was proposed to go in the one at the Kingsburg area. That lady and the interviewer were outside, and they were having a talk at a high level, not normal talk. They were having a talk at a high level that the noise was so loud from these things. And I certainly live close, just a little over a mile. And she said that it was 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And you can imagine having to try to live like that. You can imagine that she would not be able to sell her property, even if she wanted to leave. And I've heard rumors from different people about the people from the Kingsburg area that they didn't want any business at all. And that's not true. That is not true at all. Nobody said anything when QVC came. We were glad to have them as neighbors. We were also, when we heard about the tire plant, when we heard plans about the battery plant, nobody said anything. We want to see the county grow. We want to see jobs for the county. But this is not the way to go. If we've got problems off the bat with water, with electricity, with noise, we don't need it. And though I'm glad to see there's a possibility of this moratorium, and I certainly want it, and I know our residents want it, that I'm hoping that this thing will be null and void altogether. I think we know enough about them now to know that Edgecombe County does not need to live like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk?
That's the last person that signed up.
Okay, at this time, according to, the county must clearly identify the regulatory concerns that warrants additional study and explain why alternates to a moratorium would not adequately address them. Our attorney has prepared an ordinance that would do this for us. And it's a little lengthy, but I think he needs to read it. Mr. Peters, would you please read what is proposed to us as an ordinance that will address this moratorium?
Yes, sir. This is an ordinance of the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners enacting a 2-year moratorium on developmental approvals of data center and crypto mining operations in Edgecombe County. Whereas NC General Statute Section 160D-107 grants local governments the authority to adopt an ordinance to impose temporary moratoria on certain types of development approvals, including but not limited to development approvals for computation-related uses like data centers and crypto mining operations. And whereas the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners, the board, recognizes the importance of promoting responsible and sustainable development while also ensuring that existing regulations effectively address the potential impacts of data centers and crypto mining operations on the community. And whereas Edgecombe County has adopted a comprehensive plan to guide future growth. And whereas prior to November 2025, crypto mining operations and data centers were not permitted uses under Edgecombe County Unified Development Ordinance, the UDO. And whereas on November 3rd, 2025, the board amended the UDO to permit crypto mining operations and data centers within the M2 General Industrial District, subject to the use standards included in Section 4.3.30 crypto mining operations and data centers of the UDO. And whereas as of the date of this ordinance, there are no active or pending data center or crypto mining operations in Edgecombe County. And whereas a significant number of citizens and residents of Edgecombe County have appeared at every regular meeting of the board since November 2025 to express strongly held opinions and perspectives, both in opposition to and in favor of data centers and crypto mining operations in Edgecombe County. And whereas the board has observed a significant increase in interest in how data centers and crypto mining operations are regulated in Edgecombe County, highlighting the necessity to review the county's ordinances related to such systems. And whereas in March 2026, at the direction of the board, the Edgecombe County manager established a data center advisory group, the DCAG, composed of a diverse group of approximately 30 stakeholders, including a county commissioner, community members with varying viewpoints, supportive, opposed, and neutral of data centers and crypto mining operations, county staff, engineers, water utility officials, and other subject matter specialists to provide a structured and transparent forum for examining the impacts of data centers and crypto mining operations in Edgecombe County, which group met for the last time on May 21st, 2026. And although the group was informed there would not be any more scheduled meetings, it expressed a need and desire to be allowed to continue its work. And whereas the DCAG met regularly for several months to examine the data center and crypto mining operations in Edgecombe County, as well as consider whether it may propose possible amendments to Section 4.4.30 of the EO, the county manager submitted a 137-page report to the board at its June 22nd, 2026 meeting. And whereas at several times over the last 2 years, including most recently at its July 6, 2026 meeting, the board has expressed a need and desire to update its comprehensive plan. And whereas through the extensive public input at meetings, review of the report of the county manager, review of the comprehensive plan, evolving technology regarding data center and crypto mining operations, and new and pending legislation affecting the board's authority to modify the UDO, and which may have broader statewide impact on the development of data center and crypto mining operations, the board has identified several aspects of regulating data center and crypto mining operations, including but not limited to land use compatibility, the preservation of agricultural and rural character, environmental considerations, decommissioning requirements, the adequacy of existing infrastructure to support increased data centers and crypto mining operations in Edgecombe County developments, noise, desire for economic development to include significant job creation, conservation of natural resources, and water conservation. And whereas the board is committed to protecting the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens and ensuring the long-term land use goals of Edgecombe County are met, and whereas pursuant to NC General Statute Section 160D-107, the board published notice in the Rocky Mountain Telegram on July 17th, 2026 of a public hearing on August 3rd, 2026 at 6:00 p.m. in the Jonathan Felton Commissioners Room on the second floor of the Edgecombe County Administrative Building at 201 St. Andrews Street, Tarboro, North Carolina, to accept public comments on proposed 2-year moratorium on development approvals of data center and crypto mining operations with Edgecombe County. And whereas in accordance with NC General Statute Sections 160D-107 and 601, the board held a public hearing at its regular meeting on August 3rd, 2026, where it heard from staff and took public comment during a public hearing where all were allowed to comment on the board's consideration of imposing a 2-year moratorium on developmental approvals of data center and crypto mining operations with Edgecombe County. And whereas following the public hearing, the board determined, given the above stated challenges and concerns, it was necessary to thoroughly review development approval and associated regulations contained in the UDO governing data center and crypto mining operations, and to consider how to best balance increased growth and development of Edgecombe County with any impacts of approving future data center and crypto mining operations in Edgecombe County. And whereas as an alternative to a moratorium, the board considered directing planning staff to propose any revisions to the UDO it determined to be necessary to address the board's concerns, but the board determined it would be impractical and inefficient to direct staff to propose revisions without providing the board, staff, and the public sufficient time to review, debate, and consider how any possible revisions might accomplish the board's goals without leading to repeated changes of the UDO absent a full review, and in addition, without a moratorium, it is possible applications for development approval of data center and crypto mining operations will be submitted while the board is considering necessary revisions of the UDO, which would complicate and confuse the review and approval process for the county and any applicant. And whereas after due consideration and discussion over several months, the board has been unable to discover a reasonable and adequate alternative to imposing a temporary moratorium on development approval of data center and crypto mining operations that would allow the board, the planning board, and Edgecombe County planning staff a reasonable time to research, consider, debate, receive additional input from citizens and subject matter experts, and make any desired revisions to the UDO to address concerns regarding the increased future development of data centers and crypto mining operations in Edgecombe County. And whereas the board determined the moratorium should begin immediately upon the passage of this ordinance and continue for a period not to exceed 2 years, which is a period reasonably necessary to consider and address the concerns aforesaid, given the significant time it required to review and consider, among other aspects, existing ordinances, new and pending legislation, the county manager's report, additional DCAG input, citizen comments, the comprehensive plan, consultation with legal staff, and the county zoning and land use consultant, develop any proposed amendments to the UDO, and allow time for the board to review and comment on any proposed amendments before publishing notice and conducting a public hearing to consider any proposed amendments if necessary. And whereas this moratorium is intended to provide necessary limited pause to ensure that future development aligns with the board's vision and the best interests of Edgecombe County and its citizens while maintaining a balance between encouraging development initiatives and protecting the Edgecombe County's natural and economic resources. Now, therefore, be it ordained pursuant to NC General Statute Section 160D-107, the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners does hereby impose a moratorium on developmental approvals of data center and crypto mining operations and any developmental approvals associated or related uses within Edgecombe County effective as of August 3rd, 2026, the date of the adoption of this ordinance, running until 12 a.m. on August 3rd, 2028, at which time the moratorium shall automatically expire unless sooner terminated or extended by the board for good cause shown as permitted by NC General Statute Section 160D-107. The above recitals are incorporated and made part of this moratorium. The moratorium affects and is subject to the following. Section 1, moratorium imposition scope and applicability. This is a long ordinance.
I think you've read sufficiently to address the concerns that the citizens have raised. We will complete. I feared that, when I told Mr. Peters that he need to read it, he looked at me, but I thought that this issue was such of importance that the community needs to understand that what the statute required. We have been through that process, and it addressed the concern of the citizens, and I felt that there was a need to do that. So, at this time, is there a motion to approve? Question. Go right ahead.
However, I was Mr. Peters read it, I think the way it was intended, but on page 3,
It's,
under the
it's for two.
second whereas,
It's for 2 years, though. It is for two.
it is gonna be 2 years, but short in 1 year.
It's for 2 years. It's for 2
Okay.
years.
just
That's
wanna make
what.
sure that
That
they-
is what is addressed. I saw that.
All right, thank you.
Okay. That's what it is for 2.
Right.
The ordinance. The correction is we had 2 copies. Okay, you had 2 copies.
It was a corrected one after.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
there's
didn't,
2
I didn't get
copies.
the corrected version.
Okay.
I got 2027 and I got
It,
1
the
year.
ordinance with the motion is for
Options.
the motion is for what was stated by Mr. Peters.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I had to.
Go ahead. Go ahead. We need to correct that, Mr. Peters. Go ahead.
Well, it wasn't
Right, it's two separate.
there were
things.
2 options.
He gave us. There were 2 options
Which one you read?
depending on what the public comments were.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the public comments have so. She gave us those options, and depending on what came from the public comments. The public comments were in support of a 2-year ban, and so that was his correction.
Moratorium.
Moratorium. That is correct. Yeah, correct me, please. So that was the correction. So it is for 2 years, Mr. It is as stated by Mr. Peters. Is anything?
I'll continue to read it if you like, Mr. Chair, or
No, we can. No, we good. We good.
That would be my motion.
Motion is what?
My motion would be to adopt the 2-year moratorium.
Got it all.
Second.
Okay. We good, Mr. Peters?
yes, sir.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion is adopted as recommended. Well, I guess we'll say just on behalf of the board, we appreciate all of the, we're here today because of the concern of the public. We want to thank the committee that served in terms of assisting us come to this point, and that in terms of any amendments to the UDO, Mr. Evans would be calling on that committee to assist in any amendments that we might do with our unified development orders. Not as it relate, even as it relates to data center, any amendments that we might do in the future. The community will be involved in those amendments, and Mr. Evans will be calling on that committee. At this time, we're going to public petitions, ladies and gentlemen. And as you come forward, please state your name and address, and I will be coming down on my gavel when the clerk sounds her. But I did think that the other public hearing was necessary to extend that. Please call the first person.
Mr. John Walker.
Go ahead. Next.
Brianna Baker.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners, Board Chair, County Manager, and everybody else that is here tonight. My name is Brianna Storm Baker, and I live at 205 Louise Street, Canida, North Carolina, 27819. Many of you already know me as a commissioner for the town of Canida, but tonight I am not speaking on behalf of my board or the town. Tonight I am addressing you as a concerned citizen of Edgecombe County to discuss the Canida Mobile Home Park located within the Canida town limits. For decades now, the Canida Mobile Home Park, which is currently owned by Forbes Rental One LLC and currently managed by Tim Forbes, has been an eyesore for the residents of Canida. As of today, there are 14 abandoned trailers situated within the town limits. I have provided photos today that I took from the street to give you an idea of what the land looks like. And it just shows just how much these trailers have decayed over the decades that they have been mismanaged and neglected. Not only has this mobile home park been a horrible blemish on our community, it has been a health hazard for us as well, between the various pests that the buildings attract, the trash that has accumulated around the area. As you can see with the photos, the grass has been an issue with it being overgrown as well. And it is simply unsanitary and unsafe for the citizens living in the area. And the photos kind of, I feel like, would speak for themselves. But in December of 2025, the Edgecombe County Planning and Inspections Department had condemned the trailers located in the park. There's nobody currently inhabiting the area.
The town of Canida had been working with Forbes Rental One and Edgecombe County to address the health and safety issues that this area poses for the citizens. But unfortunately, in my opinion, it doesn't seem like anybody is really being held accountable for this park being a nuisance to our community and how this space has lowered the quality of life for the residents. So I'm calling upon Edgecombe County. I'm calling upon the Board of Commissioners today to do whatever it takes to help us get rid of these trailer parks, because this area has been a long and painful chapter in Canida's history, and I want to I want to work with. We want to help close this chapter for our citizens. So Canida can't join Edgecombe County in getting off of these bad lists when we have this weighing down our citizens. So thank you so much for your time, being able to let me speak tonight, and peace to you all. Thank you so much.
Hold it right there in terms of,
Yes, sir.
this is in the city.
This is within the limits. Yes, sir.
Does the city, you don't know whether the city have an ordinance addressing this?
We do have ordinances addressing this. They were passed in March of 2025. Our ordinances follow state and local guidelines, and the grass, we specifically have a section of the ordinance, I believe, that addresses overgrown grass of this nature. It has been, it hasn't really been addressed in the way that it should.
Well, let me make this statement in terms of Mr. Evans and Mr. Peters. See if we can assist in how they can remedy this. In terms of if it's an ordinance, it might not. It's the enforcement of a city ordinance. Ask us to see what we can do to help. If the health department has already condemned it, to see what else can be done. And
I had a question. If our planning department has been involved, what have they done?
Would you mind if I invite Mr.
please do,
Spell up?
please do,
Sir, would you mind coming up and giving an update?
please
on
do. Mhm.
Our involvement.
Yes, good evening, commissioners. Yes, the planning department has been involved in this process. We have had multiple meetings with the town of Canida, with Mayor Bryant, with representatives of Forbes Rentals, and trying to facilitate the cleaning up of the property based on minimum building standards, in which our building inspector did go out and condemn majority of the mobile homes. So last update we did get from them was from guess back this late spring, in which my understanding the Forbes Rental was in the process of having the final tenants leave the mobile home park. And so now we're in the process of, we will follow up with the town and Forbes Rental to see what's the next step in the process as far as the, I guess, the removal of the mobile home.
Well, let me say, let us get more aggressive.
Right. When was your last
Okay.
communication? When was your last communication before?
It was late spring.
We're in summer now.
Could I ask just to clarify? So it started under the county's purview, but since that process, and as Mr. Spell mentioned, there's been ongoing conversations with representatives from the town. The town, as Ms. Baker mentioned, now has minimum housing standards, or if you explain how that works.
Well, the town, from my understanding, I guess y'all have zoning standards, but minimum housing, that's enforced by our inspections division. And so that's where we've been enforcing it on our end.
And we got a counter turn. Let's move that process. Let's move that process aggressive as we can. I think the town, if we had it and the town passed an ordinance, we had it before they passed the ordinance. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It's ours. Let's move it. Part of it's ours. That part which we can handle Let us handle it. And let us move it aggressively. And let us be prepared to report to the board the next month in terms of what we've done. They need some letters, and they need to show they're not going to do anything until we get their attention. Let us get their attention. Mhm. Next.
Chairman Liz Nancy.
Good evening. First of all, I appreciate the vote on the data center. Good evening. I am Camillus Nancy II, 127 Midway Lane, Tarboro, North Carolina. Mailing address P.O. Box 1391, Pine Tops. I stand today to acknowledge our Edgecombe County Sheriff, Cleveland Clee Atkinson. I had the privilege to travel to Myrtle Beach on last Monday for the first time, never been there before, to record the sheriff being installed as the president of the Sheriff Association so people here could see it. While there, I fellowship with some of the deputies, something I normally don't do. I normally just go to the room, start working on my stuff. But I went down by the pool and fellowship with the guys. And all those guys talked about was Edgecombe County. I'm like, y'all ain't got nothing else to talk about. They was talking about how dedicated they were and all that. And I'm like, y'all down here at the beach. Well, they stayed down longer than I did. I went down that Monday, came back that Tuesday. Some sheriffs from our counties talked about Clee was the man. From other counties talked about Clee was the man. A couple being Republicans. Everybody was excited about it. So I just want to say tonight, thank you, Sheriff Clee Atkinson and staff, men and women, for their dedicated service to Edgecombe County. And since I got some more time, I understand that some others got it before. That's fine. But this is Clee time. I had the opportunity to go to Raleigh in 2009 and record retired Sheriff James Knight. Now I wasn't there when Sheriff Phil Ellis, but I'm 64 years old and I remember Barton too. So all I gotta say this period is the current administration. So let's don't get it twisted. So I hear a lot of talk about the other ones did it too. That's fine. But let's don't cloud it. And the other thing, again, I didn't have to speak on the data center because there was enough people speaking. So again, that's what happens when people come together and that group, the Edgecombe Data Center. That's what happens when you come out front and lead the way. And then when you all pick up and follow the community. So thank y'all for all that you do.
Oh, wow.
Madam Clerk?
That's the last person.
Okay, I think at this time we're gonna take a 10-minute break. We're standing. We'll take a 10-minute break. You don't have to leave from 10 to 4. Let
They
them,
can
they
get
can,
that
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Evans, starting with, number six, item 6.1, budget amendments. Anything be brought to the attention of the board?
You have 6 budget amendments that require your approval. I will ask you at this point if you will approve budget amendments 1 through 5. Budget amendment number 6 is connected to agenda item 6.3, so we'll hold on that. But I recommend that you approve budget amendments 1 through 5. Happy to answer any questions that you might
Is there a
have.
motion?
So moved.
Any questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Attachment number 2, Mr. Evans is, go ahead.
Yes, sir. That's regarding the special use permit that you all had. We had a public hearing at last month's meeting. There was an additional condition that was added throughout the conversation, and so we wanted to have the time to adequately prepare the
order.
The order, yes, sir, for you to approve. So you have that in before you for your consideration. This is the applicant, Crete Solutions LLC, special use permit number 26-SUP 12. Happy to read my memo if you like, but
No,
otherwise
no.
recommend that you.
You got any comments on your made?
No, sir, this is just the order to memorialize the decision you made last week.
The
last
board,
month.
the board will move to approve, the chair moves to approve.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none. Attachment number 3, 3, Ms. Evans, I believe.
Yes, sir. This is regarding a Homeland Security grant for Emergency Services Department, total of $97,000. This is to purchase a boat for swift water rescue. It does require an $18,064 match, and that is the budget amendment number 6, as I mentioned just a moment ago. I think this piece of equipment would be highly needed in those times where we've had, as you know, we've had to do some water rescues, and our team here is more than capable of using this airboat. And so recommend that you approve to include the resolution in your packet as well as the budget amendment number
Motion.
6.
Got a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Question?
My question is, now he's saying that $18,000 for the boat trailer.
Yes, ma'am. That will be part of the match for the project. Yes, ma'am. Good question. Thank you, Chris.
Any other questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none, there's approved. Moving on to number 4, attachment, Ms. Evans.
Yes, sir. I'd like to call up Ms. Lewis, our tax administrator, who will walk us through our annual tax settlement and charge for next year's collections moving forward.
Good evening. You have a copy of our annual settlement required by state statute in your agenda packet for this past year. As you can see, the collection rate for annual taxes went up from 94.46% for FY 24-25 to 95.95 for FY 25-26, an increase of 1.49%. I would also like to report that the motor vehicle tax collection rate for FY 25-26 is 99.58%, the same as the prior fiscal year. With motor vehicle collections having no change and our annual collection seeing an increase, our overall collection rate ended with a combined rate of 96.39%. The total outstanding for 2014 was $146,844.80. This amount was down by $76,694, meaning we were able to write off less than the prior year due to the 10-year statute of limitation. We also increased our collection of our prior years for 2024 through 2015 total amount of $1.6 million. To say I'm very pleased would be an understatement. I'm very thankful and grateful for what my staff has accomplished this year. They work very hard at what they do. I could not have done it without them, certainly. I would also like to thank Mr. Peters and his staff, Nanette, for their help and guidance, as well as Mr. Evans and each of you for your continued support in our efforts to increase our collection rate. Our goal for this coming year is the state average, and as of this past fiscal year, the state average is now 98.50%. So it went up a little bit from 98 to 11. So I guess everybody's doing a little bit better job. But I'd also like to share with a little bit of statistics that our office has done over this past year that's helped us collect that. We currently have 28 active payment plans. We had an increase in bankruptcies for 13, including $32,000. We submitted 61 new debts to the North Carolina Debt Set-Off Program, collecting over $10,000 in that process this year. We did a total of 1,752 wage garnishments, collecting $384,000 in delinquent taxes. We garnished 20 bank accounts, collecting $139,350 this year. We also sent 71 claims to the State Unclaimed Money SG program and collected $10,733. We did 45 sheriff executions this year, collecting $63,461. And then we sold 23 parcels, collecting $135,274. And we have demand letters with payment plans collecting $602,372 for our foreclosure demand letters. So as you can tell, we worked very, very hard to collect that extra 1.5%, but it paid off for sure. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about what our office has done this year.
Any questions?
I just say congratulations to your staff for keeping the good work. And as I tell our, my citizens, we're willing to work with you.
Yes, ma'am.
If you just go down there and tell your people their situation, we will work with them. You just can't put it in a drawer like Fred Sanford act like it didn't come. You got to do what you can do. So we appreciate you working with our citizens.
Thank you.
As much as you have to make sure that it gets done.
Also, Mr. Evans, when he called me Friday reviewing it, he asked a question about, is this our largest? So I will say, this is the largest that we've had since 2002, because that's as far as I look back. And our closest one was the year prior to COVID, 2020 tax year. We had 96.24. So we are back to before COVID collections. So.
Great, good job.
And just to add, I think it can get easily lost in the numbers. That is great in and of itself, but they don't, as you know, they don't stop after the first year. With over $40 million in levy to collect, that includes motor vehicles. To have we have 10 years to collect, to write off just a little bit over $100,000. That's tremendous. That's a lot of hard work, and they don't give up, and they pursue every avenue that we have. It's not a fun process that we like to do, but certainly necessary. And I want to thank, certainly before you, I've already told her this, but before you all in the public here, I want to commend her and her staff for their tremendous work that they've done. You don't have to remind you, but this is our primary revenue source. We can't serve the citizens without collecting these tax dollars. So
that's a lot of wage garnishments.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a costly thing to do?
It's a timely thing. It does cost. It costs the employer and the employee more so than the county, because we pass that fee on to them when we do it. It's basically $30 for us to serve the employer and to serve the employee. And then some employers charge for taking that money out of their checks in addition to that.
Do we have repeat offenders?
Yes, ma'am. I could probably name several right off the bat.
Well,
even with the foreclosure process, we have repeat offenders. So it's those ones that you have to push all the way to the deadline.
It means they don't care about you doing.
That extra money doesn't matter. That's right.
So you get it the best way you can get it.
That's right.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none. Thank you so much.
I also like to report too, just so you'd be on the lookout, that your 2026 tax bill should be mailed out to y'all this year. So,
I'm not happy.
This
to-
year?
I'm not happy
I
to
mean,
see.
this week, excuse me.
I'm not-
Sorry.
This year.
I'm not happy to see it.
This week.
This week, sorry.
That's her putting you on notice.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
But remember also, you set the rate. So-
Got the vehicle. I objected.
It's still yours. You're part of the process, okay? Next, Ms. Evans.
Next is regarding a contract for waterline extension project. As you know, we've been awarded by the Golden Leaf Foundation funds to construct a water line along Leonard Wiggins Parkway at Kingsborough Industrial Park. Bid opening has been held, and TA11 Company submitted the low bid at $1,075,285.50. Attached, you'll find certified bid tab along with the recommendation. I recommend that you approve the contract as presented.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. You have appointments to the, get off the list advisory boards, Ms. Twain White, and appointments to the Turning Point Workforce Development Board. This is a motion to approve all these appointments.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
question. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, they are reappointed and appointed. After list and releases, Mr. Evans, anything to be brought to the board's attention?
No, sir. Happy to answer any questions if you have.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
questions. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none is approved. Contracts for review, anything to be brought to the board's attention, Mr.
No,
Evans?
sir, Mr. Chairman, you see we have a contract for Edgecombe County Schools for the school nurse program, as well as a master contract for commercial restoration, smoke, fire, and disaster restoration, and then one contract for your FY. Gotcha. If we could, well, I'll let you go ahead and approve these first, so we need to back up for a second.
Motion? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
question. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Evans.
So the
Motion
contract.
carried. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you.
Go
For
ahead.
the contract for TA11 that we just talked about, this is,
I don't know if things are ever linked to anything, but I was going to pull the minutes up saying that we approved it, and it is still contingent upon funding.
contingent upon funding approval. So
Okay.
this has got a final approval from.
I make a motion to amend my previous motion to make it contingent upon contract.
Do we,
Funding approval.
do we need to undo that motion?
I think if you just clarify, it would be good enough for this issue.
Okay. What's your motion again? Go ahead, make it.
Motion to amend my previous motion, that we adopt pending funding approval.
Second,
Second.
questions. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that is approved.
And so, Mr. Chairman, those, excuse me, those additional items requested to be added to the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. The first one is regarding calling for a public hearing for rezoning case 26-CRZ05. The applicant is Hani Shahada, is requesting a parcel approximately 0.51 acres located in 4257 NC 122 North Hobgood to be rezoned from R10 to B2C. So recommend that you call for a public hearing at your September meeting.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Public hearing is called.
Thank you, sir. The other additional item is the offers to purchase lots 103 and 104 Deer Run. These are properties that were acquired through tax foreclosure. Mr. Michael Bullard has made an offer to purchase both of these parcels. You'll see in the information that you have at your place. Both of these are less than 1 acre. They each are valued at $10,500. His offer is for $5,000 for each. And if you accept this offer, we'll be required to post a 10-day upset bid notice in the local paper and recommend that you accept the offer to purchase.
So moved. Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. The sale is approved.
Sir?
ramp.
No, I don't think it's close enough for that.
Yes, it is.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Next.
Maybe so then. Next, you have department reports in your pack. You have water and sewer update, solid waste report as well. You have, I'll call Ms. Barfield up to give you your monthly financial summary.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Just kind of wanted to remind you, as stated on the report, July is the beginning of a new fiscal year. So there's a few reconciling things that we'll get after month end and be able to reflect that on next month's report. So don't really have a lot to say about the monthly report. As you know, we're operating out of 2 fiscal years. We're trying to close up one as we ventured into another one. I'm happy to ask or answer any questions you may have. And after that, I'll just give you a brief update on the audit process.
Any questions of finance? Go ahead.
So just this past July 22nd and July 23rd, the auditors were back with us for their second visit on site. They did a lot of expenditure and compliance testing. This is the second of 3 planned visits. Their next visits will be September 10th and 11th. That will be their final visit. So just happy to report, as of right now, everything is on track.
Any questions? Thank you so much.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this time, Mr. Evans, manager report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We have no retirees in the last month. You have a copy of my major events and updates report, also workforce development indicators and the TDA financial reports. We also provided, it is the time of the year, or it is that time for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners are requesting submission of items to be included in their legislative goals. And so you have a draft at your seat of some recommended goals. I want to thank Vice Chairwoman Ms. Harris, who met with myself, Ms. Faison, and Ms. Bess earlier today, and we discussed our previous goals. We talked about some of those things that concern us now. Many of those we share with other counties. Some may be a little bit more specific to us. You have a draft in front of you. I won't go through those tonight, but would ask if you would, next couple of days, to take some time to review those. If you have others that you'd like to include on this or any changes you suggest, let us know. But otherwise, Ms. Faison will be following up with you to get your final thoughts on this. We have until next week, next Friday, to submit, to send in our submission, but just wanted you to have that before you. Unless you have any questions about that, I'd like to now call up Ms. Bess, and she's going to give you an update on some highlight of key accomplishments and upcoming events.
Good evening. So again, as the manager said, I'm going to provide you with some updates on some of the things our departments are doing that are within their work, but a little bit out of the ordinary of their office. The first event, as you can see, is the Plant the Flag on July 2nd in celebration of part of this American 250 celebration. Neighboring businesses and Edgecombe County citizens met outside of the administration building to plant flags and share ice cream. We were especially excited that the students from Think and Grow across the street came, and they were there and were able to celebrate with us and plant their flags. And you can see them planting the flags at their spot there. On July 17th, 2026, we all participated in a mock evacuation drill for shelter training. This was encouraged and planned by the not environmental EMS, and they did an awesome job planning. The drill provided an opportunity for the county and our partnering agencies to test our emergency response procedures, our communication, and our overall readiness in the event that evacuation becomes necessary. This exercise included participation from DSS, the Sheriff's Office, the Health Department, Edgecombe County Public Schools, and other agencies. And we all played a part in helping to evaluate how we would work together to serve our residents during an actual emergency. So I couldn't show the pictures like I really wanted to here, but there are a couple of employees in environmental health who they do an awesome job in environmental health, but they also should earn Oscars because they really portrayed people that were in an emergency. And one of them just went crazy and we had to run around the shelter and find them. There was an actual dog because there may be someone that comes to a shelter that brings their dog, and we had to figure out how we would handle that if that person came. People that were ill, people that had allergies, people that are allergic to dogs, if we're in there, and then where do we house those people? So we tried to come up with every scenario, and it was really, it really helped you understand what we need to do and what we would have to do if we had to open up a shelter.
Did we get some new, those things right there?
Cots.
Cots.
They look new.
I don't think they've been used before.
Yeah, they look new. From what they were telling us about the ones they've used before, those
Right.
were definitely
That's why I
some newer
asked.
ones. Yeah. But it was a very eye-opening experience just to realize, especially there were a lot of the DSS staff who had been part of, different shelter activations. So they were very helpful, and it really was an eye-opening experience for all of us. Senior Fun Day is a new thing that we are working on with the Office on Aging, and they are partnering with the Edgecombe County Parks and Recreation Department to have fun, athletic, senior appropriate events for our seniors. And so we had our first Senior Fun Day on July 16th, and they came out, they played Connect Four, Cornhole. We had some chess. They were very competitive. We had to make sure we had prizes because when they won, they wanted to make sure they had their prizes. We had a special guest that came to help them with their basketball, and he was especially excited to go against Reverend Sproul. So this event provided a wonderful opportunity for the seniors to come together for a day of fun and community engagement. And again, as I mentioned, was a partnership between the Department on Aging and Parks and Rec. And we are excited to be able to support the quality of life and well-being of our older adults. So Deborah identified that we have the luncheons and we have them together, but the activity was something that she wanted to focus on. And they're ready for the next one. So we're planning for August the 20th for the next one.
What was the age? I mean, is there a starting age?
She reached out to her contacts, and I don't know what the age is.
At the senior sites, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
So we really appreciate her and Kelvin, and we're looking forward to the next one, August the 20th. And then our last focus was our USDA ribbon cutting. This event marked an important milestone in our efforts to strengthen housing opportunities, improve the quality of life for residents in Edgecombe County. We celebrated this accomplishment along with the USDA representatives, community partners, local leaders, and others who helped make this project possible. So that homeowner in the middle, this was her ribbon cutting for her new home that she was able to achieve with the USDA financing. And we appreciate them for partnering with Edgecombe County to help us build more sustainable communities. The next item that we have up is on August the 13th, and I think Tammy, we haven't sent out the flyers for that yet.
Yes.
Okay, so the next collaboration that we have is again with America 250, and that will be at the Town Commons on August 13th from 4 to 7. It's a vendor mall, food trucks, and that will be free food, and also school supplies will be offered that day as well.
You say free food?
Yes.
Put that on my
We have 8 food trucks that have come forward to give out free food on that day.
They're donating up to a certain amount,
Right,
correct?
right. There's
Yes.
a cap on what they're donating. Most of them are donating up to 200 pieces of like maybe hot dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, fried corn, and things of that nature.
And that'll be on August the 13th.
On that housing thing, we had a lot of citizens. When my post hit, I like, who are all these people who had no idea this opportunity was available. So have we been back in touch with the lady that was in charge? Okay, because I know she said she really wanted to connect with this, but I got the information for her and I posted it to a lot of people so that they know how to start the process. Because they had no idea it was available. They were excited. A lot of people were excited.
Yeah, I talked to someone, and I think one of the avenues is through the realtors, so they can direct their clients. So that is an option for financing.
Yes, it's a program's been around a long time, but it's one of those things you got to constantly remind people or let people know that it's available. Miss Shirley Alexander, who's the regional director, who's in the picture there, she's engaged. Mike is the liaison for our Getting Off the List Affordable Housing Advisory Board, and she's attended a couple of y'all's meetings, I think, and they're talking about how to, work together to help get that information out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's the regional director for that site.
Commissioners, what? Anything from commissioners? Hearing none, attorney. Go ahead.
Just thank you, Mr. Dancy, for your comments on the sheriff. Just wanted public congratulations from this board for that. That's a huge honor and will mean a lot for us in the state over the next year.
Absolutely.
If I could just echo the same thing, Mr. Thorne, thank the sheriff for the work that he does and under the conditions that he does them. So I really do think that it's great to have our sheriffs continue the tradition of becoming the state leader, showing our great people that we have in this county. So
Say something about the county. Yeah, I wanted to give a report from. I did go to our National Association, NACO, and for the first time in many years, the president of NACO is a North Carolina county commissioner from Mecklenburg County, Mr. George Dunlap. And it was a privilege to be there and to see him get sworn in and get one of his appointments to one of the national, and of course it's Human Services. He appointed me to.
So it's good to be there. Wasn't it?
Yeah, see your name on the screen. So, it was good.
Any other commissioners? Hearing none, Mr. Peters?
Yes, sir.
Well, there will have no closed session. Is there anything else to come in open session for the board?
Nothing from staff, Mr. Chairman.
Anything from the board?
I was going to inquire about the availability, if possible, for the upcoming state convention, North Carolina. I think it's in August 21st or something like that.
I think, let's see.
And I don't know if it's available, if it's going to cut into what budget we got set out, I'll pass, but.
I move to authorize the funding of Mr.
What is it?
For the annual conference, the NCC?
Yeah, in Durham, I believe it is in Durham. I think I mentioned.
Your request is to go to the state.
To be able to attend that, yeah.
I moved that it be approved. Do I get a second?
I'll second it.
Questions?
You already know that.
All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye. All opposed? Hearing none. It is granted. Anything else to be brought in open session? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Question. All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. Y'all done good tonight, hour and a half.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be
We'll-
a